upside down.
On this episode, the boys talk to Kirsty. She's amazing. She knows so much about early childhood education. She taught me a thing or two, and now I'm perfect. Hope you enjoy.
My friend had a baby, now he don't sleep no more. Waves crash in his eyes, tides on the nursery floor. Oh, my friend had a baby.
I was just saying to Kirsty before that she's now one of the few people that knows what you look like as well.
Exactly, and you know what my chaotic home office looks like. As a early childhood professional, how do you feel about this ladder full of bright toys? It's very loosely put together. Do we feel that's safe to have as Felix grows, or maybe start to dismantle that?
Oh, I'd be careful. if you've got yourself a climber, you're in trouble.
What's going to happen if a government official goes through Scott's house? Would everything just be taped up and put away?
Breach here, breach there. It's not looking good, Scott.
I'll take it on notice.
You've got a little while to go, though.
Yeah, he climbs me now, and he's six and a half weeks now. So he's very much about dad naps. He loves a dad nap, and I pop him on me when he's ready, and I just hum. I just do this low hum. And it just kind of knocks him out. But then when he starts to wake up, he kind of shimmies up me as we go. So I don't know. I think the climbing's not that far off, to be honest.
How did you go through getting through that first leap?
Oh, it was a horror show. It was probably it was so bad. I'll freely admit, and anyone that knows me will vouch for this. The advice you give me, I take it with a grain of salt. But then when it happened, I was like, damn it, he is so right. Oh, it was back to front, inside out. I'm hungry. I'm not hungry. Give me a dummy. Fuck this dummy. Like he was so mad about everything all the time. And then he just woke up one day and he was like, oh, cool.
It's fine.
Nice.
Got this.
Yeah, everything's fine. Look at this new skill I've got. I can now suck on the zipper. You've just developed that. Is that the skill that you've been building? He's come out of the leap. We're getting some smiles that are not fart related. You know, he's reactive now to seeing us, which is very, very exciting. So I work from home a large proportion of my day, and I spend a lot of time talking on the phone and pacing around the house and yelling into the phone. And I find myself pacing constantly to the other side of the house just to go, hey, Felix. And then I go, oh, shit, I'm still on the phone. Yeah. So, yeah, it's genuinely amazing what has happened just in that little block of time.
Yeah, wow. We're getting lots of giggles now.
Yeah.
And I swear I got Audrey to laugh today. I swear it happened. She may have been choking at the same time, I'm not sure, but she had a smile on her face, and that's all that mattered. And I'm going to take that as a win, which is very good. But you've heard a little voice here, and that is Kirsty, who's very, very kindly joined us, just in case we didn't introduce her properly before. And Kirsty, you're a director at Ashgrove House, is that right?
I am, yes.
You're in charge.
I'm in charge.
You're the big head honcho, which is all very exciting.
El Jefe here. This is very exciting. I haven't been this excited since we spoke to Peter Coombe. I got all this. I am so full of questions. I am just about to burst.
We've got you on here today to talk all things early childhood because you are our expert this week. And maybe if you could just start just why, for you, why early childhood? Because kids, 0 to 18, there's all sorts of different things. What was it about the younglings before they go to school that was so important to you or brought you into the field?
Well, I was a florist for 12 years prior.
Oh.
And, yeah, dealing with brides and, had to get out of that for a little bit. So I left and I was at
You know your way around a tantrum or two then as well.
Yeah, that's it.
You're
Exactly
keen to watch
right.
flowers bloom is what you're saying. We're getting
that's right.
early on all these things, yes.
So, and then I was just at a party and I bumped into a girl that worked in childcare, and we just got talking, and I said, I've always really wanted to do that. I remember at school I did my work experience at a kindergarten, and, so there was that interest that was there. Anyway, I ended up just working for her for a little while and as an educator, and I've been in it now for 27 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And worked my way up.
Obviously, you didn't start as a director.
No, I was an educator and then assistant director and then director. And I love it. I absolutely love it. To come to work and just see a sea of positivity in these children, that they're just raw and real and present and living each minute in a beautiful way and growing, and, I love it. Sometimes it's a little bit like working in an institution.
Insane asylum. Yep, I can imagine
see
that.
Children walking around with buckets on their head, or hitting themselves up against a wall, or it's like, okay, that's interesting. Let's unpack that for a little while. But there's never a dull moment, definitely.
What purpose does a centre like yours play in a young kid's life as they get ready for the world?
Yeah, I think it's so important. I think obviously I'm an advocate for it, but to be around their own age group, the way that they negotiate the world around them, the way that they view the world, and through play and discovery and that inquiry-based learning is so important for them to be able to experience things themselves, I think. And the educators here at Ashgrove are very much, we don't know all the answers, but if they come up to us and ask us a question, it's just about, I don't know, let's discover this together. Let's learn together. So you're building long life learners, basically. You're teaching them how to work it out themselves. And it's also lots of emotional regulation that happens with children, especially when they're around their peers. That's really important for children to understand the emotions that they're going through and how they deal with it. And it needs to start at a really early age. So if you see that they're sad, I can see you're really sad. So they're understanding what they're feeling. They know the word. And so especially for boys, when they get older and they're dealing with anger, they recognise it, they understand it, and they can move on from it a lot quicker. But if they don't, and we're not teaching them from now, it's tricky.
No, I don't want to get you in trouble with any of the parents. But do you ever
Alex
see any adults kicking around where you go, if I had you at an early age, you wouldn't be behaving this way as an adult?
Look, I have had a few, yes, definitely. Not mentioning any names. But, yeah, you can see a lot of, not so much now, but back in the day you could see that we were just childminders. It was a play group, basically. They didn't see the benefits of coming into a childcare or a long daycare centre. There's a lot of education that goes on for children. Everything's learning, everything. I don't know if I answered that question, Scott.
It's a good sort of roll on to my next question, because let me provide a little bit of framework, right? Because I don't want to get in trouble in my life either. But having a little one in the house has made me really dislike anyone over the age of 18. And I'm just like, I look at him and I'm like, you're so pure and amazing, and you're just this vessel for learning and experiences and all that kind of thing. And I just sort of can't be bothered with adults much anymore. I just want to hang out with him all the time. Do you have that in your life as well? You have these beautiful experiences with kids and you're hanging out with them, you're watching them develop, and then when it comes time to hang out with adults, you go, nah,
I'm
not interested. I just want to get back to
hang
work.
out with children completely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They just give such joy. And I really love how they're in the moment. They're just completely in the moment. They're not looking at the future. They don't see it. They're not there yet. It's just beautiful. I much prefer to hang out with kids.
I feel you. And watching Felix this morning at 3 8:15 a.m. When I'm giving him his bottle, and he burps, coughs, and farts simultaneously. And just like his world just shattered around him. It was just like, what is happening? And then I burst out laughing, and we're trying to like stay calm, we've got to go back to sleep soon. And I'm just like cackling away and watching him come to terms with this huge sensory experience that he's had, which as an adult, I'd be like, that was weird that happened to me. But for him, it was this just had a new experience. It's so exciting. I'm genuinely envious that you get to have that every day in your professional life.
It's a privilege. It really is. To see even Alex's eldest child grow and learn with us and then head off to school. It's so beautiful. I love it. And then she comes in and we still got this nice little connection, and she runs up and gives me a hug, and it's magic. It really is.
Well, I'm glad she's still nice to you when when she comes in and sees you, because we might have a few things to talk about afterwards. I wanted to talk to you about environment a little bit, because when we had our first daughter and we started exploring, like, oh my God, she's gonna go somewhere. We're gonna send her for the day, and we tried a few different places, and so many places felt too clean and sterile. And like, well, we have violin at 2:00, and it's like, my 1-year-old doesn't need this right now. I know you're trying to sell us a service here, but there are a few places that didn't really align with what my wife and I were after as an environment. But here at Ashgrove, Scott, I know you can't see it here at the moment, but it's a lot of dirt and bark chips and uneven surfaces. Not trying to set flags off for anyone who's work safe orientated here, but within safe limits. Like, they can climb on things and they can almost get themselves into a little bit of trouble. How important is that kind of environment to a kid growing up?
Yeah, it's really important. So I've got a folder filled with risk assessments, but what the lens needs to be sometimes is the benefit of the risk, and allow the child to climb a tree. There's a difference between dad lifting the child up onto the tree, on the branch. There's no learning there. There's no, they need to be able to negotiate that. And so to offer that is really important, because there's a sense of achievement for a child. Even like we've got logs and tyres and so forth, and just to see them, even the delight in, I've got this, I can lift it up, look, I've got it, and they do, and then it might fall down or whatever, but it's allowing them to experience it, basically. And it's having an environment that's tangible, that they can kind of shift things around and get really creative with the environment outside it's important for them.
A scuffed knee or two isn't going to destroy their adult future, is it?
No, absolutely not. So,
despite what some parents might think?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? So when I do a tour, I'm really transparent about who we are and how we do things here, and you have a choice. There's so many childcare centres out there now that you do have a choice. So, and you've got to leave with a gut feeling. It's not about me trying to get you into the service. You're going to leave with a gut feeling, going, this is our philosophy. This is how we want our children to be cared for and experience. So there's choice.
I've been reading a lot about, young children and exactly that sort of structured exposure to mild levels of risk, and how important it is for their development, and how dangerous it can be long-term to intervene too much while they're experiencing the world for what it is. And the example I was reading on this sort of dad page, I suppose you'd say, was if your little one climbs up monkey bars and they don't quite know how to get down, it's important not to fully intervene, but more so to guide and say, okay, no, you can do it, and encourage them to, to problem solve and activate those parts of their brain. Is that something that people would expect at Ashgrove? Is, obviously within the realms of safety, one's on the roof, I'm assuming you don't just...
Right, kids, we're on the roof today. We're jumping off.
Yeah, little Tim's on the roof. Everyone get on the roof. Let's make this an activity.
Document
is that the
it.
type of thing that's encouraged?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we walk alongside the child. If they're on a climbing frame and they're a bit stuck, it's just like, where do you think your foot might need to go, And so you just talk them through it. And then the next time you see them in the yard, they're kind of really thinking about it and placing their feet where it needs to go. And it's like that achievement. It was like, and celebrate that and go, well, you did it yourself. That's so cool. And yeah, and then you can just see them, that's where they go to all the time, and they're just building on that skill kind of thing. So it is really important not to just lift a child up and down to keep them, you got to keep them safe. And if they're freaking out, of course, you're just going to hug them and reassure them that they're safe, just to guide them and teach them.
Definitely a lot more safe and structured than this is our first child. So my exposure has been with nieces. I remember my niece when she was a little kid, and she was exactly that. She was kind of stuck on a climbing frame. And my response was, well, I'm going to the car. You need to get yourself down or else you're going to have to live up there. And I look back and I go, maybe not a good idea. Maybe we could have been a little bit more supportive to help her problem solve that. But, she's okay. She lived. She doesn't live on the climbing frame still. Yeah, she's still up there 14 years later. Started like one of those apocalyptic societies up there. And there's all the other kids that got stuck up there. It's real sort of Lord of the Flies situation.
Yeah.
I guess if we're thinking about, Scott's situation where he might be, thinking about a childcare soon and people out there are getting back into working and they're thinking, oh shit, I have to put my kid somewhere and all these decisions that I have to make. What's the youngest that Ashgrove will accept?
We take children from 6 months.
6 months, okay.
But there's services out there that take them from 6 weeks.
Hui. Scott, can you imagine Felix being in a daycare already?
No, I feel like I would be a mess.
Yeah.
Not because of I'm having a hard enough time knowing he's at the other end of the house and I'm not there. I'm becoming one of those elastic parents. I've got that invisible elastic band attached to him.
Yeah.
I understand it's a necessity for some people. It's just not an option. You need your young person to go somewhere, and it's nice to know that those services are out there. And it's really interesting to hear, as someone who doesn't know a lot about childcare, which I don't profess to know much about it, that there are those differentiating sort of services where, hey, this is the age group that we work with, this and beyond. Here's another service that does the age group and below. So there's something about that that's really reassuring as well. It's not just a catch-all. If you've got a kid and they're a kid, doesn't matter if they're 6 weeks or 6 years, you just put them in here. That is really reassuring.
Obviously, there's a big range. Okay, so 6 months up until 5, basically. What, I guess, from an education perspective, or is it just care at that 6 month to 1 year old age? What's going on from a childcare perspective with a kid that's so young?
So when we accept children that are 6 months old and the family comes in, and it's really emotional for the family to, they've been attached for 6 months. It's a long time. There's so much. Scott, you were saying about how quickly things are changing, and like every day he's learning something new. So there's a lot going on in that 6 month period, and then they have to leave their child. But for us in the nursery, it is really all about connection and safety and them feeling secure. I'm talking about the parents.
Yeah.
So, because it's true, I tend to really lean in on the families that are coming in and letting go of their children and saying goodbye to them for a 7-hour period sometimes. For me, I've got to be there for them. And then for my room and the educators.
Scott, just so you know, and for everyone listening at home, there is a dog in the room with us, the resident pup. So for anyone listening at home, if you do hear Frankie is currently rolling around on the ground, casually scratching himself, just for the atmos, just in case people are wondering.
That sounds like the dream.
Sorry, Kirsty, you were saying.
Yeah. And then for the child that comes into a big group of, babies, and they're all the same age and whatever, they're building resilience and, like trust. And that's what you're building on as well. Like you want the baby to feel a connection and safety, and you see it happening slowly. Some children just cruise in and they're fine. See you later, mum and dad. and other children just they take a little bit of time, and you notice they're not going down for their sleep or, you know, things like that. And then can take maybe a fortnight, and then you see them, they're okay. There's trust there.
I remember dropping off our daughter for the first time, and we stayed here for an hour with her just to explore the space. And then we came back a couple of days later, and it was that we're going to leave you for an hour now. And we were told, go have a coffee locally or whatever, come back, and then, you know, we'll have that session end. And I remember going to the local cafe, and just like for the first time in almost a year, we didn't have our newborn strapped to us. And it was like, what do we do? Are we allowed to do this? It was the strangest feeling. So I imagine you get all sorts of reactions from parents when they go through this process.
Yeah, some parents don't feel comfortable leaving. You were really quick to leave, I remember.
Well,
just underarm throws you the baby and like, right, so
No, some parents don't like to leave, and they'll just sit in the office with me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I will admit, I feel like that would be me. My anxious demeanor will result in me being like, is there a parent's corner, you know, with a TV and a coffee machine that I can just...
And some CCTV to keep an eye on my child.
Yeah,
and
I've got him attached to like a heart rate monitor and stuff like that, you know.
So it's a lot
or
of...
either that or just in the car park, in the car, stress eating and crying until it's time to...
It's true. We get a lot of parents coming back in going, that was such a hard hour to do. You just have to... It's both the child needs to grow trust and the parent needs to grow trust as well. And then you've got the anxiety of the parent that projects onto the baby. And so then they really feel that, you know. So if you're not confident, the baby's not going to be confident either. They're picking up on all of that. A quick drop-off's a good drop-off, and then you can kind of...
Over the fence and off we go. See you later. Bye.
Yeah, we had to stop Alex from doing that, but that's okay.
Did you see how high the fence is now? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, all because of you.
Yeah. So, okay, so we've got those kids that are sort of 6 months, 1 year old, and then we go all the way up to 5. There's so much going on in that brain at that point. What are you trying to give them over the years? Because they get some sort of official sort of education, but there's still all that play. How much does all of that come together to form who they are when they enter the world?
Everything, I think. Like, play is so important. And we could do a huge conversation on the benefits of play. But when they've come to us from 6 months and right the way through to 5, at Ashgrove is a house. And so safety and security is paramount for the child to be able to learn. If they don't feel safety, if they don't feel heard, they're not going to learn. We view children as an individual, not as a group of children, and we meet them where they're at. So each child brings something different, and as an educator you have to be really connected to every child to be able to bring out the best in them. Yeah, and like I said, just meet them where they're at, know how they learn. Every child learns differently. You might have one that, you know, really doesn't want to go outside and play. That's not their environment. They want to be inside. So we have that option of inside, outside, just so they can feel heard, I guess, is really important.
What kind of thing, I guess, is a parent or an educator looking for if they don't feel like their kid? Not that it's an issue with the place itself, but what kind of signs could maybe a parent look for where they feel like, I don't know if my kid's getting it right now. Maybe that milestone isn't being met.
Every child learns differently, I think, and we do parent-teacher interviews. There's a lot, but the reason why we do that is so there's a connection between what the child is experiencing at home and to Ashgrove, so we can make a connection to really benefit the child's learning. If they're not reaching a marker that you think they probably, like speech is a big one, we would have that conversation and just say, look, I think we just need, you know, and it's a really hard conversation to have to a parent when they don't know or they don't want to hear it as well. But for us, it's so important just to share the information that we have or share the knowledge that we have, and for the parent to make that decision themselves. So I can just give information if I feel that there's a bit of a red flag with a child. And early intervention is so important, and it mightn't be a lifelong thing. It could just be 2 sessions with a speechy and we're good to go. But my stress is early intervention in any way is beneficial for a child.
That sounds like a hugely under-recognised and probably undervalued part of your role and a part of the centre as well is maybe landing those tough conversations with parents. You know, I think for people that are not exposed to a lot of childcare centres, case in point, myself, I think we can sometimes forget that you guys are the front line. You know, you're observing these kids through that objective lens, which isn't clouded by parental or familial love, and able to recognise those behaviours and signs and symptoms and flags and so forth. My roll-on question to that is, how would you go about starting that conversation with a parent if you recognise that, hey, maybe there's a need for some intervention here, or maybe this is a little bit of a sign of something potential further? Is that a sit-down meeting? Is that a report that's involved? What's involved with that?
It's definitely a sit-down meeting, because I wouldn't do it over the phone. I'd like to read a face of a parent so I can kind of guide the conversation a little bit better. It's bringing them in and just talking about, we've noticed this, and what do you do at home? I always say that if we've got something that's maybe behavioural, or a child with a lack of language or anything really, I always start with, have you noticed anything at home? And then, because this is what we're seeing, and I'm not sure if this is something that we should really dive into. And then I guess it's a thing of, if they are in denial, that's okay, and that's their thing as a parent, and you have to respect that. And for us, when they're with us, then we do what we need to do. Really, I don't get a lot of that. I get a lot of families just go, yes, we've noticed that. And as a first-time parent, and if you don't have other children around to compare, you don't know that language isn't there, and you don't know, certain things. So being in a childcare setting helps recognise if there is something, and that is beneficial, because, like I said, early intervention is really important.
Well, I think that's probably a fantastic segue into my word of the week.
Oh, so week. Early. Word of the week.
Yeah, word of the week. Remember that one?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I know. Cue that music.
It's time for Word of the Week. It's time for Word of the Week. It's time, oh yeah, for Word of the Week.
Scott, what is your word of the week for this week?
My word of the week this week, and hopefully we'll see if this strikes a chord with Kirsty, is proprioceptive seeking.
One more time for the audience, for people at home.
Proprioceptive seeking.
Proprioceptive seeking. Scott, go on before Kirsty slam dunks and changes your understanding.
Well, let's see if I got this right. I made some notes because it's a childcare, early childhood thing. So in proprioceptive seeking, children have a craving for deep pressure and muscle joint feedback, and it helps them to understand where their body is in space. Right? So they will often self-regulate they'll crash, they'll jump, they'll roughhouse, and providing safe, quote, heavy work activities is often really helpful, because it helps to calm their nervous system and improves their focus. So there are supposedly, and I may be wrong here, Kirsty, but there are some pretty common terms that are referred to different kinds of children when it comes to proprioceptive seeking. So we have the crusher, who is a big squeeze hugger, or they press hard on their crayons or their pencils and they snap the end off. We've got the bumper child, who loves bumping into walls and throws their body on the floor, and you're more than likely to see them jumping out of trees. We've got the chewer, who likes to chew on shirt sleeves and non-food products, and high energy seekers, who are just all of the above, running around jumping off things, stomping their feet, always on the move, and really craving that intense, rough play. So that's my word of the week, is proprioceptive seeker.
That is
seeking.
Yeah, that you ticked basically a box for every one of my children with one of those sensations. I can guarantee you right now. And it explains so much, because with my eldest at the moment, we might be reading a book and she'll just nudge me just constantly the whole time, and it does my head in. This whole leaning into me the whole time, or she'll grab me and squeeze me or whatever. And my son absolutely loves just jumping and falling on the ground. So you've absolutely nailed some of those things.
Have you ever, well, first of all, I want to know, did I do a reasonable enough job of describing that word of the week?
Yeah.
Kirsty, did I get that one right?
100% you did. Yes.
Nice.
And yeah.
So my question to you relating to this week's word of the week is, do you ever have parents that kind of warn you about their kids when they first come in and they're like, oh, he's a biter, or he jumps off things, or he's a bit rough, or whatever? Do you find that you need to kind of explain that, hey, this can be really normal behavior in young kids, and it doesn't mean that he's off his rocker, he's just figuring out where he is in the world right now?
Yeah, completely. Some parents are aware of their child and their different actions that they do, and others aren't. And then you see that developing, I guess, knowing that maybe a child sitting down for group time can't sit still. And so you would take them outside and get them to use their big muscles and to self-regulate, and then they're ready to come in and sit down. So there's lots of just different things that children require to be able to sit and listen to a story, or, so you have to allow the child to have those breaks to run loose,
Just some free play, just send them on their way, get your energy out. And I guess it's also important for a parent to engage with that as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
okay,
sure.
damn.
So,
all right.
yeah.
You're like immediately trying to shirk your responsibility. You're like, how can I not engage with this as much?
Can I automate this process in any way?
Is there an AI for this yet? And there's something like looking into these terms, and I've looked at a lot of these, and I've gone, I remember growing up with kids like this, and the way that they used to be addressed was they'd just be either yelled at, or they'd like sent to timeout. You're being a rat bag. Go and stare at the corner. That should help you. And you realise, geez, we've kind of fucked it up for a long time, didn't we? We really got it wrong.
Well, it's interesting too, because there's a fine line between childcare and then heading to school, and the routine of school. And being at Ashgrove, yes, we have a routine, but it's very loose. Like, there's a lot of play that happens and learning through that play, but they're creative and they can kind of do what they need to do. But then when they hit school, it as you would know, Alex, it's very routine, and that can be hard going from one setting to another.
Yeah, I certainly know, in terms of all the play that my kids have had here, is dropping them off's always been a little bit challenging. Sometimes, like, I just don't want to do it today. But then picking them up, they're in no rush to leave. Just like, no, I've had a good day, mate. Like, what are you, like, do we need to go somewhere? No, we're all good.
I'm just thinking, I'm just planning on cutting out the middleman altogether, and Felix is straight to the mines. There's the structure you need. There's your pickaxe. Off to work.
Off to work. Well,
one week on, 1 week off.
Yeah. Well, before we head into the break, now I do have a track history of getting free advice, which is basically the whole point behind this entire podcast. Scott called it out a while ago, and I didn't realise I was doing it. One thing that I have noticed in my eldest child at the moment, and my middle child, he's not quite there yet, but my eldest, her intelligence is ramping up at a serious rate. But her ability to lie about something at the moment is just second to, like, it's almost impressive what she can just look at your face and just tell you, no, I didn't do that, or nah, that's not how that happened, despite the overwhelming evidence that she was responsible for something happening. What's, like, not that
I feel really seen right now. I'm sitting there with like chocolate smeared around my face, and my wife being like, where is it? And I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, no. Mate, I got no idea what happened.
It must have been Felix.
Not that I think there's anything wrong with it as such, but what's going on in their head at that moment where like that skill alone seems impressive that they can do that. But what do you think is going through their minds when they, and I'm sure it happened in the earlier age too, where they develop that skill? I mean, I'm assuming she's a super genius or a villain. I don't know. Yeah, some days it depends.
She did say that you were funnier than me, so let's not give her.
Well, yeah, I know.
Oh gosh, Alex, I'm not sure. Sometimes it can be learnt behaviour by other children as well, knowing that they might view something and know that child has lied about it, and kind of. So it might be a thing of, to be quite honest, I don't know, but it could be learnt behaviour, and it could be really clever, working the world out and knowing that if I say no, and she might have just one day said no and you agreed with that, even though she had done it. And so that stuck with her, and kind of it's just that challenge of seeing how far I can push my dad. But the real science behind it, and you're asking the wrong person, unfortunately. I'm sorry, but okay. So you're not going to learn anything from me.
Alex just steaming though, thinking about the things that he's been lied to about. You know what? I kind of feel like I don't want to point the fingers, Alex. I don't want to point the finger.
No, it's fine.
You strike me as the kind of dad who would tell their kid that ice cream is spicy. Right? And so
the number of chips that we've brought home from the supermarket that are the spicy brand is through the roof. And I'm just realizing this is entirely all my fault.
Boom. Done.
Well, there you go, like learnt behaviour kind of thing, isn't it?
I thought you were about to defend me in some way. It's like, no, just doubling down on it's all your fault. Well, great segment. Thanks, Kirsty.
Time for us to go to a little breaky break here so Alex can go and assess his life decisions.
Find a corner to cry in.
He's reaching for a tissue right now.
We're going to have a little break and we will see you back shortly.
Oh, my friend had a baby. Life flipped like a coin. Oh, my friend had a baby. Chaos joined the joy.
Hello? Wow, Kirsty is so smart. She helped my daddy a lot. I learned a lot too. But hey, if you like this episode, subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Love you, bye.
Parenthood's a dubstep drop, not some easy dream. Oh, my friend had a baby. Life flipped like a
Welcome back to the My Friend Had a Baby podcast. We are joined with early childhood educator, mastermind Kirsty from Ashgrove. And I think now more than ever, we need to break this up with some how to dad action.
Let's hear that music.
How to dad, how to do, fix a boo-boo or a shoe, got a tantrum, got no clue. How to dad, it's in your hand, step by step you'll understand. How to dad, you're the man.
So my how to dad question this week, this is my turn, is we're all a little bit guilty sometimes of just we're emotionally tapped out. We're done. It's the end of the week or the end of the day. Our emotional reservoirs are gone. Our tolerance is gone. And how we would normally interact with the situation with our kid is kind of out the window. I've been guilty of it once or twice of raising my voice at our children. I don't want to say shouting. That seems aggressive, but I guess that would be the appropriate word that the neighbours would use to describe what they hear. Am I ruining my children by raising my voice at them if they're misbehaving or not listening?
Well, I think
Yes. End of question.
I'm going to be really gentle here. I guess it depends on the situation. And you do, as a parent, that frustration, you reach boiling point, and when they're not listening, or you've had enough. That's where, really, in a perfect world, you should walk away and really think about your actions.
I'm learning a lot about myself more than anything in this episode.
If you can't self-regulate, they won't be able to, and they're going, Dad is really angry, and that's probably not going to help the situation. It's just going to get louder. So it is really important for you to, 5 breaths and just assess where you're sitting within that if you're being triggered. I'd walk away and then come back and go, wow, I had to do that. And, if you're talking to your eldest, she would understand that. And you're teaching her how to kind of self-regulate as well. And you have to project that and be that for her. Yeah, yelling's not great.
Okay, good. Duly noted.
Well, I mean, we've all done it. Scott, I'm sure you'll reach a moment in your world as well where your voice will be raised.
I cannot see that ever happening. Purely to spite Alex.
Yeah, no, I could understand that as a motivator. But Scott, surely in the middle of the night you've had that moment of maybe not raising your voice at a 6-week-old, but just absolute frustration that he's not doing something, surely.
Oh, absolutely. Especially during that first sleep period that we were talking about earlier, where because just so you're aware, Kirsty, I do the 3 a.m. feed. That's like my time to shine. Is I hear him rustling and I'm like, game on, the process begins. And I wheel him out of the bedroom in his bassinet. We do the change. I've got the bottle sort of warming up nicely, and I get him over to our special chair that he settles in, and he has his feed, and before the end of the bottle he is blacking out, right? And I am beating my chest, King Kong, I am dad of the year. But during that week there, he was like, nah, I don't know what a bottle is anymore. I don't know who you are, and I hate you. And I definitely didn't yell at him, but like Alex would, but I was, I did a couple of times. I found myself sort of throwing my head back where I was like, oh, like just do what we need to do so we can go back to bed, because I'm back at work as well, right? So I'm like, okay, I need to get you to bed so I can go to bed, because I got to be up in 2 hours to walk the dog and then go to work. And like, you can't explain that to a, like 6-week-old. It's like, do you understand the dog is going to have a terrible walk if you don't go to bed right now? That sort of deep breathing in the moment to go, okay, let's just get through this and everything's going to be okay. But yeah, the frustration's there. There's no denying it. And can I ask you, Kirsty, just so we're shining a spotlight on you guys as well, you're surrounded by heaps of kids, all kinds of personalities and all different levels of need and so forth. What are some techniques that you would teach your staff members to keep their cool? Maybe when they've got 3 or 4 different kids that, one of them's screaming, one of them's biting, one of them's crying, one of them's eating a worm, and they just hit that that overload stage. What kind of techniques would you teach an early childcare professional?
I think it's different for us. We're not their parent. We're not here to discipline. We're here to guide. And if I have an educator that is getting overwhelmed, there's a team in a room, and we talk about just saying, I need to remove myself, or I need 10 minutes. And so we're lucky that we've got a team around us to be able to do that. So it's about being honest with where you're sitting. And like I said, it's so different. We're not their parent. And so your relationship is very different being an educator to the child. And Alex, like just going back to yelling, I think if you get to that point and then you're calm, always go back and go, I'm really sorry that I raised my voice. Because if you do that and your child you don't want to leave it in that space. I think to be able to apologise to a child is really important. If you know that you've just overstepped a little mark, and to revisit that when everyone's calm and go, hey, I'm so sorry, but this is why. So you explain the reason why. Because we all yell. We all, as a parent, I wouldn't beat yourself up about it either.
Okay. Well, I won't beat myself up, but what I do...
You should retrospectively, some apologies need to be issued.
Okay, all right. Well, but I certainly know that if we've had, a tough day and there's been some blowouts between us, and I will feel myself holding a grudge against a 5-year-old, and just be like, oh, you treated like in my only internal monologue was, you little shit. How dare you act? We feed you. We keep a roof over your head, and you talk to me like that. Like, obviously, again, just for the record, this is my internal monologue, and then it comes when everything's calmed down. It's like, the last thing I feel like doing right now is apologizing to you. Yeah. But I'm also a lot older than you and have been around long, and I know that that is the right thing to do, because as a family unit, to bring yourself down emotionally, just go, okay, let's take a few deep breaths, let's have a cuddle, and everything will be fine. And I've found a lot of value in doing that when we've had particularly tough times, because so much is going on in their heads. The one thing you talked about it a little bit, I guess we're talking about our roles as dads and educators as well. And unfortunately, we do hear a lot of the negatives of what I'm about to ask, and what I've seen with what you've had here at Ashgrove, but the value of a male educator in a very predominantly female field, with male educators as well. What is the value of that to young kids?
Diversity. We've got a lot of children that come 5 days a week, and it's so important for me to have male educators around for those children, and male educators bring a different dynamic. Like they just view things differently to females. So I think it's really important. It's really sad what the lens of what's going on in the world. The male educators that I've got here at Ashgrove are just incredible people and bring a lot to the lives of the little people, and the connections, and children that don't have a male role model either in their world. So yeah, it's really important to have male educators.
Yeah, I've certainly found with my two that have come through here so far is that there are some days that are like, we just want to hang out with the boys. Yeah. That's all we want to do, because they just bring a different dynamic, which we've found to be really important and really valuable too.
Kirsty, let's say you're someone like me and you like to do pre-planning and you like to, really map out how things are going to go. If you were to give new parents some advice about how they can best prepare themselves for that, not just the first day, but maybe the first week worth of contact with a centre such as yours, just to help them be prepared and keep their cool, what advice would you give to parents just so they themselves can be best prepared for what that first day is going to look like?
Yeah, I think time, give yourself time and grace that you are going to go through different emotions, dropping your child off for the first time. It's important for me to check in on the family to make sure that they're travelling okay, and is there anything that they need or want. I always say to families, please don't leave feeling a little unsettled about something. Always voice it. We're a community helping raising your children. I think it's just for a family just to slow down and know why they're doing what they're doing about embarking on long daycare, and that it's okay to feel the emotions that you're feeling and validate and communicate as well. If you're in a partnership, to be on the same page and to be able to support each other through that letting go.
What a perfect...
that's perfect. I'm going to take the words out of your mouth. That was just I feel reassured already. Okay, well, I'm not crazy for preemptively feeling this sense of dread and anxiety. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to feel that way. That's a lovely way to frame that. That's really cool.
And it's such a perfect way to, I think, summarize and conclude our episode today, is just that sense of community is so important. Let your kids do what they want to do most of the time, I think, within reason. and let them play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Kirsty, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. And Scott, anything else you want to finish with?
Well, apart from a huge thank you to Kirsty, I just want to say to all you tired parents out there, remember, kids in childcare, beers in the fridge.
Jesus Christ.
Chaos join the join.
podcast.